Hey guys, we are back again. Mr. Boateng, do you want to greet your people?
Hi, you are welcome once more, and it's been a great journey with us. We hope you stay with us along this journey.
Yes, it's been an awesome journey, and thank you guys for following, for liking, subscribing, commenting. If you guys will keep this channel afloat, so we just want to say we appreciate you. So thank you very much for that. I'm just gonna dive into our conversation for today. I have some questions about relationships. We're gonna talk about the marks of relationship. So basically, my question is I've been hearing this thing that after people have been together for a few months or a few years, there's a stall that comes in, and either people break up or start experiencing a whole lot of problems. Why do you think that happens? Why are people breaking up after a couple months? Why are people breaking up after maybe 3 years of marriage, 5 years of marriage, 1 year of marriage, 7 years of marriage? What's going on? From your point of view.
It's not how long or how short you have been together that
Hmm.
determines if you are going to stay or not.
Right,
It's more of the decision you make. So if I decide I'm going to choose you and stay with you,
right.
I will continue to choose you and stay with you. So that I don't think that has much to do with how long we have been together.
Okay, but like according to the studies and what I was reading, right, it was like after a certain time, people tend to start falling apart. Like for example, you see people that were madly in love, right? They get married, they go for the honeymoon. The honeymoon is like amazing. And then a couple months down the road after the honeymoon, things start turning sour. Or a year in, 2 years in. What do you think? What is the problem? What do you think is going on?
So there has been so much research, there has been so much talk
Mm-hmm.
about relationship and compatibility and so much
Right.
talk around relationship and marriage and divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we sit down to look up all that bring anything that bring about divorce and everything,
Or separation.
yeah, there are some key lists that people always talk about.
Mm-hmm.
One, change is constant. We are always changing.
Totally.
So the person you met yesterday is not the same today, right? So as the person change, you
Mm-hmm.
also should also at least understand the change, that things are not always going to be the same. So it's okay to change. So
Right.
that is like change is one thing,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes familiarity also make people just overlook so many things because
Familiarity is a killer.
I know you. I saw you when you were going to high school. We have been together all this
I
time.
got used to you.
I know. So I was like, I know when I used to give you like the money for your school, for money for your upkeep, and now you think you are what? I married you
Big baller.
when we started. I have seen you up to all your feet. So,
Mm-hmm.
so all of these things let people forget, like what the other party, what the other partner also need.
Mm-hmm.
So they overlook all of these things, and we keep saying the little stuff.
Yeah.
They really hold people together. When I
Right.
was sick, when you stayed with me,
Mm-hmm.
when I needed something, I didn't even mention it, and you brought it for me.
You were
So
present.
those little stuff that people don't pay attention to,
Mm-hmm.
like they goes a long way, right? It's not the big honeymoon event that you had that mostly that really make it,
The dates.
because people
Initial.
really do these things. Some do it because they genuinely want to do it. They
Mm-hmm.
plan and purpose to have it. Others do it because the community, the friends, the people that they have, they are
Everybody does
doing
it.
is doing it, so they feel like they have to also
Do the same
partake in
thing.
that.
Right.
So those don't really. I don't think that is what hold people together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we hear of divorce. We pray, like the Lord keep us. like order our steps in everything that we do. So we do hear of divorce and separation and so many things.
Right.
Communication do play a part in it, like being able to talk, sit down, talk, express yourself, share your views in a nice, um, holy and welcoming way.
Right.
It plays a good part in
In
that
molding
long
the
lasting
relationship.
event, like that is relationship, that friendship, whatever that you have. So being able to communicate, um, not taking the person as, yeah, you are,
For
I know you,
granted.
I know you, because we are familiar with the environment and everything. It has, like and just looking at the little stuffs that come along the way, like I think those will go a long way.
Yeah, I think like along the way people lose intentionality.
Yeah.
Because initially, when you're starting and you're chasing after something, you are 100% in it.
That's right.
It's like when you're like you want a new job, you're gonna study your behind off to make sure that you will be accepted at that interview, and then when you get that job, you're going to go above and beyond to keep that job, right? Because you don't want to get fired. If you get fired, no moolah is coming. Ching ching is gone, it's done, and you're in trouble, right? But then with relationships, the crazy thing is sometimes, most of the times, when you do like a trajectory of asking people why certain things didn't work out, you realize that most people stopped putting in effort.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That's right.
Right.
Yes.
So anytime like you stop putting in effort, there's nothing to be excited about anymore. It's like when you're dating, you do stuff, you find ways to stay connected. You'll be researching ideas on Google, asking friends, yo, give me a date idea. What do you do with your girlfriend, right? Like, let's say for the whole week you've been working and, the weekend is coming up. Like, I mean, let's be realistic. Like, when we're dating, we'll be looking up ideas, you'll be looking up conversations. What question should I ask my person? If you people don't do that, don't be looking at me anyhow. Me, I used to Google questions because I'm like, we gotta keep this conversation going. Did you? Or was it just me?
It was the moment, like and we have people that we listen to and stuff. So
Yeah.
you listen to their videos, you read from them, and you want to also share, like, oh,
Yeah.
like you have to ask this question, you have to do this.
I mean, you
have to
gotta
do
keep
this, like
things flowing.
so, like those were like those things that
Right.
like I think around that
Miles
Monroe,
Monroe.
like there were a few other people
Apostle
that
Josh yourself.
like you watch
Along
their
the way.
videos and
Stephen
read
Furtick.
their books and stuff. So it's these they just help you, guide you in like decisions and the thought processing of like courtship, relationship, and all of that. Yeah.
And also like finding a common thing to do together. So I feel like also, just from experience from other people, it's almost like after a certain time, sometimes you enter a state of boredom. Should I say?
So
correct me if I'm wrong. Like depending.
It's not dependent, right? In my African dialect in Ghana, we say "enipa hofuno." So
Translate,
it's like
please.
translate. I'm going to translate.
Yeah,
So what that means is like you get fed up with people
With the person.
the longer you stay with them.
Yeah.
Right.
You think you know everything about the person.
Yeah. So it becomes hard to just move on. You have to be, like you mentioned, you have to be really intentional about like, this is what I have chosen.
Make that schedule.
This is what I have chosen. This is what I'm thinking, and this is what I really want to go ahead and do with a person. Right. So those things, like, you have to be intentional, because no matter how well you love the person, it gets to a time that
you run out of ideas.
You it's not you run out of idea. You feel like you want to be out a bit.
You want to breathe,
or you want to be home a bit, no matter, because if you are like people that are always out, you feel that there's a moment that you want to just be home.
You want to relax.
Yeah, and then if you are home, there are some moments that you want to be out. So it's
Lie it out, yes.
all I'm trying to say is like being together, there are moments that you feel like you need a bit of a space to just stay out, go walk, take something, and just be yourself a bit, right?
And I think you like just like how when you were dating, you would give each other room to also grow.
Because you don't live in the same house, so that it's easy.
Right, but I'm saying like I think as a partner, right? You kind of have to pay attention to your partner, like your spouse, your husband, your wife, right? Like know when they're acting different, and try to figure out and understand why are they acting different, and don't guess. I think when you notice that the person you are with or the person you love is not acting the normal way they typically do, try to approach them when the coast is nice and have a conversation like, oh, George, babe, I've been noticing you've been a little bit distant lately, or it looks like something is on your mind. Is anything going on? Is there something you want to talk about? So you can understand them and not kind of start having unnecessary thoughts in your head.
It makes perfect sense, right? It does make perfect sense. But I think sometimes I'm going to ask you, are you okay? But I really do know like what is bothering you, what is causing you to feel that way, right? Maybe I have said something, I've done something, I have caused a scene, but here is the case, I'm acting like nothing
is
happened,
wrong.
right? And I'm coming to you to ask, like, are you okay? Right.
Well, I mean, I think
So
in those.
it's okay to ask, like, your partner, are you okay? Is everything working fine? And all of that is fine. But when you deeply know, like, you one way or the other, you are part of why things are a bit off, just also factor that into.
No, but then that's the problem. Sometimes you don't really know that you are the source of the whole problem. It could be like maybe your partner had a really rough day at work, right? They've had so much going on. So because their day was so horrible, by the time they get home, they are already on edge. You say one wrong thing, that person is gonna blow up on you as if you're the one who's caused all the shindig. So that's what I'm saying. Like I think communication is very important to know like when the person is off.
Agree.
Because obviously if the person acts a certain kind of way, you're also gonna lash out, you know. But that doesn't solve the problem. The important thing is to be able to try and be on common ground. And obviously being on common ground takes a lot of uncomfortable feelings.
Yeah, and you, like I said, like the other time, being able to talk about those not good, loving, the uncomfortable
Topics,
stuff, they are the ones that normally build. Like, if you are able to, from the beginning, talk about these things that are not the most prettiest, they
most
are not
exciting.
exactly, they are not the most welcoming topics.
Yeah.
Like, it help you to really be firm with the person that you are in, like you are in the relationship or the marriage with. If you are able to talk, people gossip, yeah, that's fine, but if you are able to really sit down and talk about things that goes
important
on
things
between the two of you, and not just
superficial stuff.
When are we going to the party, when are we doing this, but how are we handling our families, how are we handling our money, how are we dealing with work, those things, because those are the things that if you are able
Make
to
or
talk
break.
about it, because you talk about money, you don't go well. You talk about intimacy, you didn't satisfy me, I didn't satisfy you, you did good. Those, it's like, nobody wants to hear I wasn't able to satisfy my partner, right? But if you are able to have these conversations and be much open to it, and both are willing to learn in that, I feel like it will help. The beginning, not so nice,
Right.
but as you find ways and means to discuss it, as you find ways and means to talk about it, and look for the best solution, the best way possible, it you get to a ground that it's like, okay, this is what I'm talking about.
Common ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I want to see.
Mhm.
This is all that I have been hoping and praying for. So you pass through that storm, and then boom, you get to that, like, that hill that you come down, and life becomes easy.
It's like a
Communication
roller coaster.
communication becomes easy.
Yes.
So being able to sometimes face these issues and talk about them and discuss them, as uncomfortable as they are, they really help in the long run.
Right. Like I was telling you the other day of one of this Korean shows that I'm watching is pretty awesome. Is that like sometimes things happen, right? Like I'll give you a little scenario. So in that scenario, there was this couple. They've been married for like 20 years. They both work for the same company, amazing jobs. But one of the partners, like the husband, has a lot of responsibility. His brother was arrested and sent to jail, so now he's responsible for his brother's wife and kids, and their tuition, clothing, school, rent, and everything. And his wife, hasn't complained to him that this is affecting them, because all the money that they make, they don't have surplus for their own kid and to do like life's pleasures. All the money keeps going to fund the husband's family. So she hasn't, said anything. And she's been standing by the husband's side for the longest, until one time they went to the supermarket, not the supermarket, the mall, and she needed a pair of shoes. But because like every time that she's trying to buy something for herself, she's kind of thinking of the husband and the husband's family, so she doesn't ever really truly get stuff for herself and her son. But the one time that she asked her husband to say, oh, honey, it's about time, I do need a pair of shoes, the husband wasn't so invested. And then she had like a little blowout with the person who was selling the shoes at the moment. She expected her husband to take her side just so she could feel some kind of consolation, since they had been at that mall buying gifts for his family. But because he did not stand up for her and he didn't take her side, to her, it's like her whole world just shut down in that mall. Because she realized for the 20 years or 25 years they've been together, he has never really been on her side. And she's always just been, hustling and standing and supporting him. But the problem here is she really did not tell him the 25 years they've been together. She's just been suffering in silence. So now that this little episode happened, she exploded. And the next day, she brought back divorce papers and gave it to her husband. He was shocked. But then that's when everything dawned on him that, oh my God, he was taking care of everything else, but not really his own marriage and his own family. And he felt really bad. He didn't know how to hold her back, so he signed the divorce papers. But one thing that I kind of learned from that is like it took years of things adding up over and over and over and over without it being addressed. So when little problems are not addressed in their initial stages and you keep tolerating certain things, right? At some point there's going to be an eruption. There's going to be a problem. Because if there's a wound, right? And you don't clean it, you don't do what you're supposed to do, you just cover it every time. But then it's festering underneath, right? There will come a time where the stench and the smell will start coming. But by then, maybe when you look at that wound, it's eaten so much of yourself that maybe the doctors will say, well, we got to amputate this part of your body or that kind of thing, because there's nothing they can do. It's been festering for such a long time. And I think that's what happens sometimes with marriages. The problems are not just one thing. It's like an accumulation of years of dissatisfaction, that those little things start now becoming resentment, and before you know it, like you can't handle it anymore. You can't even tolerate the person's presence, so you just want out, because how do you explain people that have been married maybe 15, 20, 30 years? I'm sure we know people that are like that. So why am I asking this question is that, so when you're in a relationship, we are in a relationship, as we are also trying to do, is to look at the little things, and like you said, as difficult as they are, sit and talk about them. Sometimes you need help. external help.
Yeah.
You know, intimacy issues, I don't know, go see a professional that can guide you. Money issues, go see a financial expert. Somebody gotta help you. Somebody gotta guide you. If you have had bad habits since you were a kid, they're not just gonna magically disappear.
That's true. Yeah.
Because you got
time.
married. Yeah, you know. So I feel like those things, if they are left festering over time, they will affect your marriage. Traumas. Sometimes the things that separate people is traumas from your childhood.
Yeah.
Like the things you've dealt with, things I've dealt with. If you don't deal with those things and you come, you might take the pressure and the pain on whatever your messed up emotions on your partner, but it really has nothing to do with you.
That's true.
You know, so just reading this is like, it was kind of talking about also, you know, couples that have been married for 3 years and they're separating, people that have been married for 5 years, 7 years, and it would talk about the trajectory of why they face these things, because like you said initially, you're changing. So every stage that you're changing, something also got to change.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and change is very hard and change is very difficult. And that's where you also have to learn, like you're saying, work-life balance. Work-life, family, you know, communities, friends. There has to be some kind of balance. Initially, it's hard because you're trying to get footing between just you and your spouse. So sometimes if you don't take care, you alienate everybody else because, you know, you just want to be with your person. But you might get tired of your person. So you have to know how to balance your family, how to balance your friends, how to balance relationship, how to balance work, and also how to grow as an individual. Because all these combinations, they make up the sum of who you are. But as you are changing and you're learning other things, make sure your partner is aware of the changes that are happening with you. You can't just change and you're not telling the person that this is the stage I'm in. You're shocking the senses of the other person that is waiting for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I feel like mutual respect, checking in constantly. Like, babe, where are we in our journey? What's important to you now? Because the things that were important to you when we first met, those values have somewhat changed. You have other things now.
Yeah, that's true.
And I know it's the same for me. There are certain things now that I'm more interested in than what I was interested in back then. So and it's the same for most relationships. When you start, you're on the same, you have similar interests sometimes, right? Similar base interests, or like you're on the same level. And then as the years go, as you grow, as you're maturing, as you're studying, as you're experiencing different things, you are now growing at different capacities. But the point is, how do you merge those two capacities without losing each other? And how do you balance, you know? I don't know if you have a question for me.
No, I don't have any question.
Well, I hope this episode was helpful for you. It's just for you to look into your relationship, or if you're looking to date, just look at these things and know that there will be changes in you. There will be changes in your partner. There will be changes in your relationship. The relationship you have when you are dating is going to be different. When you get married, it's going to be different. When you have kids, it's going to be different. When you change careers, change jobs, and all that stuff, it's so many different things that are changing in you. Your partner is probably meeting new different people that you were not used to being a part of. You're meeting new different people that your partner is not, like, you know, familiar with. But you cannot alienate your partner. You have to make sure that you're connected constantly, so that at the end of the day, there's no miscommunication that's going on between you. Like, if your partner is somewhere else, you should know where your partner is. A stranger shouldn't have to tell you, oh, I saw your wife there, I saw your husband there, and that kind of thing. Because those things, they just breed unnecessary contention, doubt. Yeah, the whole shindig. It can go downhill from there. So love each other, be loyal, trust each other, and push forward until you meet the higher ground. Right, guys. Cheers. I know this was a long gist. Take care. Bye.
Bye.